Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another podcast edition of Create Yourself Imagery, Intimacy, Innovation, a place where people from all walks of life in various backgrounds come to share their transformative personal and professional stories of restoration, empowerment, healing, clarity, and so much more. You are here to transition, transform, and thrive, and our guests are here to provide useful tools and tips and resources and affirming guidance. I'm Joyce Kyles, your global speaker, teacher, author, trainer, and coach. And if you are ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is the podcast for you. I am super excited for our guest today. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, then welcome. If you have been with us before, then welcome back. I am so pleased to share about this young lady's journey and all that she has done, all that she's doing, and all that she will do. I just cannot say enough. I'm so pleased. Let me just say before I introduce her that I actually learned about who she is because I was getting ready to give a presentation. And she had some members of her organization in the elevator with me. So we were traveling up to the same floor. And I was just looking at their presentation, just how well manicured they were and how they were just so ready to go for the event and the way that they spoke. I mean, it was just pure realness, I tell you. So
Wow.
I said that my only reason that I wasn't trying to sneak into the event was because I was speaking somewhere myself, so I couldn't. So that said, I love having the opportunity to present to some and introduce to others, none other than the founder of the said organization, which is Black Women in Executive Leadership. Because I want to make sure I say it right. Because what it is, I love the way that you have it framed as BWEL. So Black Women in Executive Leadership is what it stands for. So I get to present to you and introduce to some none other than the CEO and founder of BWEL, Black Women in Executive Leadership, Christina Raye. So welcome, Christina, to the show.
Wow. Thank you, Joyce. Oh my goodness. What an introduction. I was so excited about today to be with you again. And you are just extraordinary. Your story, your platform, your journey. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time because I know that you are very, very busy. So the fact that you made time for us today is very, very much appreciated. So I'm just going to jump right in because people can see your bio. So when they click on the podcast interview, they're able to see your bio and learn a bit about you. But what I love is to have our guests to share their Create Yourself journey, like who they are in their words and how they started on this path. So for the next few minutes, the floor is yours to share your Create Yourself journey.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I love your story, Joyce, when we first met and you were sharing your journey. And I love that you've opened up this opportunity for us to share, for others to share. And so my story, I'll start with when I graduated from college and I went into business. I went right into corporate. And I was blessed to have a 15-year career in corporate across a lot of different industries and sectors. And I knew, I figured out later in life with the help of a mentor, that my purpose in life was to help people translate vision to execution. He asked me what was the one thread, that sort of was woven through every facet of my life, personal, professional, social, all of that good stuff. And I thought I had a good answer to the question, but he said, you don't know your purpose. And so he sent me about the business of understanding and sitting with God and understanding myself and doing some research. And I came back with, well, that common thread is helping people translate vision to execution, whether it's when I'm preaching a sermon, whether it's when I'm leading a project at work in project management, whether it's helping a friend plan a baby shower, whether it's helping someone I love evolve into the version of the person that God has called them to be, right? And so if I'm going to help people do that, I think I need to do it myself, right? I need to know how to do that myself. And so after 15 years of lessons learned, great experiences, some tough experiences, being a Black woman in corporate and being blessed to become an executive leader, I knew for years there was more inside of me. Grateful for my career, But I knew that there was a creative version of myself that needed to be expressed. And so the vision that I believe that God gave me was BWEL, which is Black Women in Executive Leadership. And I've been working this vision for the last year and a half to 2 years behind the scenes while I was working my full-time job. And then I started seeing all this stuff in the news and in the media about how challenging it was, even more challenging than it already was, right? For Black women in the labor force, 300,000 women, Black women displaced in just 3 months in 2025. Just 1.4% of our of executive leaders in the S&P 500 are Black women, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm saying, Joyce, all these degrees, all this credentials, all this experience, all this passion that we bring to our work, and we don't have more representation than that in the leadership ranks. This is something is off. And so I, along with our team, our volunteers, our community, went about the business of building this organization. So how does that tie back to me and sort of the create yourself journey? It was me giving myself permission to express my gifts and talents in a non-traditional way. I knew that, I could build a career. I knew that I could, serve in ministry. Those are things I was sort of trained and raised to do. But I started to unpack, what else am I called to do and who else am I called to serve? And that's really where I began to uncover and give myself the permission to evolve and to be more than what I had already become.
And I love the fact that you lifted up the piece around permission, because I struggled so much of my life trying to make sure that I was showing up for everyone else.
Yes.
And sometimes I did, sometimes you fall short, but I still had it in me to try to work to make sure that I'm showing up personally and professionally for everyone else, and not giving myself permission to explore who Joyce is, who Joyce wanted to be, who Joyce aspired to be, and what did that look like for me personally and professionally. And so I love the fact that you talked about the importance of giving yourself permission to pursue, permission to evolve, permission to go forward, and we can still show up and be the things that we need, want, and desire to be for others. But there's a burning calling within all of us too. And I truly believe that all of us have an assignment. All of us have been called to do something. And so walking into that with excellence, with clarity, with purpose, working it on purpose, and having a team, having a village of people, that certainly helps. So that's why when I introduced you, I wanted to make sure that I lifted up the fact that you have an amazing team.
Yes. They
so
are
representation matters. Absolutely, they are. So I love the other thing that I want to lean into before I ask my next question, that you talked about the fact that, you had a career that you enjoyed, that you learned from, but that you also saw how things were playing out in the news. And I think that's so important to lift up, because so many of our listeners, they are going through difficult times right now with their businesses, with entrepreneurship as a whole, just showing up for themselves. How do they show up for other people? And if they are, the primary or the breadwinners in their home, or even if they're just offering the additional supplement to go along with the home dynamic, it's hard, it's tough. And so they need to see women such as yourself who are willing to pour into them and offer opportunities to see themselves, especially us as Black women, us being able to see us working together in unison, in collaboration, and not in competition. And I know that's a lot of what you offer. So this is a good segue for me to go into tell us about BWEL.
That's a perfect segue, Joyce. And can I just take a moment to say it is so beautiful to see someone living in purpose, on purpose, with purpose. And I don't remember where I've heard that phrase, but I just it's beautiful to see what you're doing and how you're just a shining example of that.
Bless you. Bless you.
So BWEL, we exist to celebrate, connect, and cultivate Black women executive leaders. And when we say executive leaders, we also mean entrepreneurs, because they are operating as the executive leaders of their own businesses. And so we do not want to exclude our entrepreneurial sisters, because we know that there are millions of Black women entrepreneurs in this country. And so we exist in that it's intentional, that order, right? Celebrate is first, because I feel like Black women, I don't know that we need a lot more people telling us how to do our jobs, but I do think we need a lot more people and a lot more opportunities to celebrate ourselves and one another. And there's this idea of over functioning, right? Where we as Black women often overfunction and overcompensate for the things that may be lacking in our lives, for our surrounding, whether it's on our job, whatever it may be. And so we step into this superwoman mode, and it's sort of one of those things where we blow past the celebration opportunity, the mindfulness of, wait a minute, I did accomplish this. Or my team, we did do this together. Let's sit and celebrate that for a moment. And I think that opens up mental and emotional capacity to do even more and to accomplish more when you take a moment to rest in the celebration. The second is connect, right? So networking is absolutely a part of what the BWEL membership offers. But when we say networking, we are talking about meaningful connections, not business cards, just business cards that you take and never see again, but in curating an environment and attracting the right type, the types of members that you would want to connect with because of their experience, because of their wisdom, because of their kindness and their warmth. When you talk about collaboration over competition, one of the things that unfortunately has become something that we face in our community is a spirit of unhealthy competition, or a scarcity mindset, where if I'm doing something and someone else is doing something similar, we can't connect, we can't collaborate. But if you operate from an abundance mindset, as we've heard, that doesn't have to be the case. And so we want to foster and curate and cultivate those connections. And then the last is cultivate. This is the learning and development aspect of BWEL. This is leadership development, core competencies. This is the motivation, the inspiration, but also the information that people need to say, wait a minute, I've been a director for 5 years. How do I become a vice president? What do I need to do differently? How do I need to show up differently or evolve how I show up to be considered for these opportunities, right? How do I assert myself appropriately? So we want to pull the curtain back for those women that are already established in their executive leadership careers and show women who are aspiring to those roles how we got there, how we functioned, how we operated, and most importantly for Black women, how we did it without losing our authenticity. Because a lot of times Black women, we're asked to give up parts of ourselves in order to get the level of success. And I am absolutely against that, right? Of course, we know how to show up in different ways, in different facets, in different spaces, right? But at the end of the day, all those ways that we show up has to still be authentic. And if the cost of me getting to this place in my career means I have to deny parts of myself, I'm not going to really do well anyway, right? So BWEL is all about celebrate, connect, cultivate, but all in a culturally relevant and authentic way, so that we're not coming home at night or clicking off the virtual meetings at night being like, who am I and how did I get here?
Exactly. I love it. And I love the intentionality, because we typically do not celebrate ourselves enough. Mm-hmm. We just don't, and I believe that we have been programmed, for lack of a better word, to not celebrate, because it seems as if we're being braggadocious, when we do that, rather than acknowledging it took work to get to this place in space. Yes. And that is to be applauded and celebrated. So I love the fact that you are very intentional about what it means to celebrate, what it means to make sure that we are included and not just invited, but that we have a seat at the table, and sometimes these are tables that we've created,
Yes.
and we need to celebrate that and then bring others into those spaces without this sense of crab in a barrel, or
Hmm.
hey, we can all do this together and work together
Yes.
for the common good of elevating and learning more about our backgrounds, our cultures. How did we get to this place? One thing that you mentioned that really stood out was, looking at executives and inclusive of entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are definitely executives in their own right.
Yes.
So, what does that look like to share? This is how I got here. This is how you move up. This is how you pivot. This is how you address adversity when
Mm.
it comes. This is what resilience looks like, and this is what restoration looks like.
Ooh.
I love when you
Mm.
said that about taking rest, and
Hmm.
that it's all right, Black women, to take off your cape and wrap yourself around it with another pillow and get on your ottoman and take a nap and
A
be
nap.
okay with that. I just shared with someone the other day that naps are our friends and we should
Oh,
embrace them.
that is on that point, Joyce. I so have embraced rest. I've been seeing a lot more about rest being a strategy. And anyone who's known me for any time knows that my faith is very central to who I am, on a very existential level. And I remember I came across, I forget the woman who said it. I wish I could quote because I want to give her credit, but she said, rest is worship. Rest is an act of worship unto God because it shows him and yourself that you trust him enough to go to sleep and not worry about it. Or if you're not sleep, resting your mind, resting your body, or doing something else with your time that is not performative or work oriented. And when I tell you, it probably took me about a year to figure out how to rest. It took me a year because my nervous system was so conditioned. Got to go, got to move. What's next? What's next? Don't stay too still. Don't stay. And it wasn't always necessarily with anxiety. It was just how I had become wired, right? On to the next. I grew up doing project management, right? So that project's done, on to the next. And rest was nowhere on the agenda. We think because we get somewhere between 5 and 8 hours of sleep at night that we've rested. No, some of us are still thinking and working and doing just as much with our eyes closed. So it was, what does rest look like in this season? And I think figuring out, when you said rest is our friend, that is so beautiful, because what do you do with a friend? You welcome a friend. You invite a friend. You proactively integrate that friend in your life. You don't wait until the last minute to bring that friend along with you when you have a real relationship with them. So if I think about that in the context of rest, let me invite rest. Let me know, let me remind myself that I'm worthy of it. Because if I burn out, then the people I'm called to serve, I won't even make it to them, or I won't sustain. And so I'm saying this very genuinely, Joyce. Rest has become such a critical part of my strategy, of my personhood, my womanhood, and I'm learning to feel less and less guilty about it along the way.
Yes, yes, I receive all of it. I know that our listeners do as well. Please embrace the rest. It is a strategy worth investing in for
Yes.
your personal and professional self and those
Yes.
around you. I can assure you, if you are resting well, those around you will appreciate it. Because I know if I've not rested,
Yeah.
I get anxious.
Everybody can tell when we've gotten some rest,
Ooh,
for
yes, ma'am.
sure.
Yes, ma'am. So, with that, I would love for you to spend a few minutes just talking about things that you have seen since creating Be Well,
Hmm.
that you have found gratifying, that you absolutely love. And then on the other side, some things that you wish, as you have been on this journey, that people would gravitate to more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the most gratifying thing, part of this journey, Joyce, has been um, the conversations and the relationships that I have built along the way. When I just recently participated in a pitch competition for BWEL. And after I got done, we won second place, by the way.
All right, look, celebrate. Yes. Let us celebrate with you.
Shout out to Greater Wealth Works and the Microloan Conference. They're extraordinary. But that part of it where I came down, and after I came down, all of these women who had come out of corporate came rushing over to me, telling me their stories. And that's just one instance, right? But since I've been on this journey, the stories, the conversations, the thank you so much for creating this space. And I know there are many other spaces that have like missions and like focuses, but just the affirmation that there is a need, that women have been lonely in their journey to success and leadership, that they do want to know how to further their careers, that they're tired of sacrificing their strength and their energy and their authenticity to be successful. And they want to be able to come into an environment that is for them unapologetically. I think that's been the most gratifying part of this journey. And I think any founder, any leader, any entrepreneur such as yourself understands the work that comes with it. What I would say on the flip side of that is, it's going to sound interesting, but I'm going to say the same thing. The stories, the things that I've heard that are on the negative side of what Black women have been through and what they have gone through and carried alone, it has made me weep. It has made me weep. And I have felt the weight and the weightiness of that emotionally, and trying to do that and carry a mission forward is not easy, right? But the weight becomes the why, right? So everything that, and one of the things I've learned along this journey, particularly when you're serving people, right, is you are going to feel a little bit of everything that the people have felt that you're called to serve. So if you feel a call to leadership, entrepreneurship, you feel you're a social impact entrepreneur, you're called to a certain mission, you're going to have to feel a little bit of what all of your community has felt so that you can serve them from an authentic place. That was not, I had already had my bumps and bruises as a Black woman leader, but I don't know that I was fully prepared for everything else that I was going to have to experience in order to be able to say to the women of BWEL, I know where you've been. I've experienced that, not to take away from their story, but to let them have a safe place where they feel seen and understood. So I would admonish anyone that feels called to do anything, prepare yourself mentally and emotionally as best as you can, because you won't be 100% prepared for everything, but know that you're not crazy. Know that the emotional ups and downs that come with it is really a spiritual experience that of transformation. You are growing leaps and bounds to answer anything that God has called you to do. It will stretch you, but you got to know there will be times where you feel knocked down, and there will be times where you feel like, oh, how can I keep going? Not because you don't want to keep going, but because you feel depleted. This is where rest is so important, because you don't want the things that are stretching you to end up stopping you from continuing down your journey. So rest, recover, and get back up, because you have a mission to serve. If I could share anything with your listeners, Joyce, is you are called to this. You will at times feel on the mountaintop. At times you will feel in the valley low. But when things level out, you are called to this, and it's up to you to get up and keep going.
Oh, okay. You know, all the nuggets, the gems, and the mic drops. Oh my, I would love to just close us out there, but I do have another question for you.
Of course.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I always ask our listeners to please share some words of encouragement, some gems, some tools, some resources, and you just gave us a myriad of them. So I'm going to ask this in a twofold way. One, if you have any events, any activities, any programs that are coming up, I would love for you to use this time to share, tell us all about them. And then if you have any last words or gems that you want to share, feel free. So I'm just going to leave the floor open for you for the next few minutes.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me just start by saying thank you again, Joyce. This has been such an extraordinary conversation. Anytime I get to be with someone as wonderful as you and share our story and talk about BWEL, I am grateful. So
Oh,
this
thank
has
you
been
so much.
awesome.
And you all, I did not pay her to say any
No,
of this.
no, she didn't. She did
Thank
not.
you.
I mean that very wholeheartedly. And so we are officially launching. We did our beta program in November through December. We are officially launching our membership on March 21st in Women's History Month. Yes, all the things, super excited. We are launching Saturday, March 21st. That's going to be an in-person event. It's going to be in Buckhead, the Georgia Banking Company, their Peachtree Street location. So if you want more information, go to our website, which I know Joyce will share with you all, BWELonline.com, BWELonline.com, and sign up for our email list because we're going to be emailing all the details out for Saturday, March 21st. And follow us on Instagram as well, at BWEL.online. And that's the nearest thing that is coming up. We're so excited. We've been working hard on this membership. We can't wait to open it up to the broader marketplace and start building this community. And if there is anything that I would leave with your listeners, is this. It's one of my favorite scriptures. It's actually Ephesians 2:10. And it says that we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus for good works, to do good works that were ordained before time. They were prepared in advance for us. So I want you to know that whatever your BWEL is, right? Whatever your create yourself is, whatever your platform is, you were called and appointed by God to do that. And that's that burning, that desire that won't go away, that problem that burdens you, that you feel that you want to help to solve. That's on purpose. You were born, you came here with instructions. And what I mean by that is that you came here with an assignment, you came here with a purpose, that God already put everything inside of you that you need to accomplish because he set it up in advance for you to do. Now, that's not for you to stress yourself out and feel like everything is about being performative and doing work, but it is to say that you have a deeper purpose. And if you're on the process of excavating that, keep going and surround yourself with people who are on that journey as well, like Joyce and her platform, because that's where your greatest fulfillment and satisfaction is really going to come from.
I love this. This has been so good. So good. Personally, professionally, and that is a scripture I am familiar with.
Yes.
As soon as I heard you say, I was like, ooh, I know where she's going with that. Yes. You are so wise beyond your years.
Thank you.
It has been a joy learning more about you. I'm looking forward to staying connected with you. Someone called me an auntie the other day, so I've officially graduated to auntie.
Yes, Auntie Joyce, absolutely.
Oh, so I love the energy and the spirit that you all are bringing to us, so that as we are going into our next seasons of things, we are seeing and learning from all of you. And it has been a joy to watch. So I'm excited to see where BWEL is going. Look forward to seeing you all and being in community with you on the 21st of March. And of course, all of your information is listed here. I'm just going to say and ditto the fact of please make sure that you follow her, that you follow BWEL, that you connect with her using the platforms that she's lifted up and that are listed here. She and her team will not steer you wrong. If you are looking for a place that is safe and caring and nurturing and intentional, this is the space for you. So I am wishing, hoping, praying, lifting up, holding space that you exceed every expectation. So thank you so much for being a guest today. You have truly been a blessing to me and my listeners.
Thank you so much, Joyce. Wow, it's been an honor. And thank you to all of your listeners and supporters. And I can't believe that I forgot to mention this, Joyce. You and I talked about this, that Joyce is actually going to be one of our speakers
Oh.
that day. I can't believe I was so excited. But so all of your supporters, we invite them to come because this is a powerful, powerful woman. And I can't wait for our community to hear from her.
Thank you very much. No, I didn't forget, but I didn't want to say either.
I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited. So yes, do show up for us. Look,
Yes, yes, absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
excited to be a part of this. Thank you again so much for your time, your gifts, your talents. Thank you so much to our listeners, because without my listeners, I could not do what I do. So as I close out every week, I say to all of you to go out and live the life that you desire and deserve. And remember that you can do so at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together. Until next time.